We gotta talk about the cards you're gonna want to have for the new train support. Make sure you guys smash the little crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out more often. So we're starting off with the urgent schedule itself over here, which now remember, we have the ability to give our opponent a token now so that we can actually play the game with this crazy thing, which is crazy. I just don't know how many urgent schedule I'm going to want to play. Now remember, the reason why you even consider this card is because it beams out a level 4 and beams out a level 5 or higher from the deck. Unfortunately, yes, there is effect negation, but I'm not too worried about it because it puts bodies into rotation for you to be able to capitalize and use. And honestly, I think this is one of the better tool cards that you can have for trains at the moment. I think a lot of people, if you're not too familiar with what Train's objective is, it's going to be a lot of rotating through different boss monsters. Because, I mean, this deck is very much the definition of, you know, what big boss monster can I deploy for easy access. Now, of course, we have to have Revolving Switchyard. This was their field spell, and I think this is probably one of the most impactful cards that they had. So if a level 10 Earth Machine monster is normal or special summoned to your field, except during damage step, you can activate this effect. Your opponent takes no battle damage for the rest of his turn, even if this card does leave the field, but you can special summon a level 4 Earth Machine monster with 1,800 or more attack from your deck, and if you do, it does become a level 10. Now, we can send a card from your hand to the graveyard to add a level 10 Earth Machine monster from our deck to our hand. So we can trade in a card from our hand to go get any level 10 machine monster that we need. But if we're going first, we can make it so our opponent's not going to receive any battle damage this turn. Yeah. And we get a free monster pulled out of the deck and modify it down to a level 10. I mean, it kind of just seems like all of the tools that you want necessarily wrapped up on one very good, strong card for you. I'll take that for sure. And then, of course, Juggernaut Libe. This card is the classic giant monster finisher that the deck was able to typically produce. Because once per turn, we can also exceed summon Libe by using any rank 10 machine exceed monster that you control. Now, the new ones are going to, you do basically need Gustav Max, but that's fine. We can detach a material from this card to make it gain 2,000 attack and defense, which becomes 6k, which is crazy. And you can only declare an attack with this card. And then during each of the battle phases, this can attack monsters up to the number of materials it has, +2. It's meant to be your finisher. And I mean, typically being able to smash through, and then you can make Zeus on top of it, as long as you're not machine locked for any sort of locks that you might be kind of throwing onto your Gustav monsters there. Now, of course, there is the classic Gustav Max. Now, Gustav Max is very simple, just 2 level 10s to make it, and then it was detach a material from it to ping your opponent for 2k damage. Now, most of the new support, in order to make the big negate, or the big monster negate, is going to involve Gustav Max itself being that big boss monster that you're going to need to discard to rotate into. I mean, the card is phenomenal for what it does. You've also got the cool thing is you've got the Lart, you've got the Quarter Century, you've got so many different versions of this running around on the market that you can pick up, and having variety is a very welcoming change from the standard of the market going, oh no, we don't need to have different rarities available. This is one of those cards, though, that you can pick whatever version you want to look pretty underneath your Exceed material, or for when you're pinging your opponent. Now, number 81, the Super Cannon Dora, or Dora the Explorer, as most of us called it back in the day. This was the 3,200 4,000 that required 2 level 10s to make it. But once returned, we could detach one from this card to target a face-up monster on the field. That target is unaffected by card effects except for its own until the end of this turn. Now, this back during its time was an incredibly broken and ignorant card because you can make any card become unaffected. And it was basically just set on these big boss monsters, and you were basically good to go throughout the fraction of the game progression. But that has long since changed. Number 81 is not the tool that it used to be. I do find it to be cool and, worth mentioning here, because if you are picking up trains, you may as well at least have a copy of this on the back burner, just on the initial thought of, hey, this is very, very strong. And then, of course, the Flying Pegasus Railroad Stampede. This was the one that just got wiped out, but Konami's not released the alt art for this yet, which means we're probably going to see the Lost Art and Starlight coming into like a battle set sometime later this year, I would imagine. But on normal or special, this is the one that lets you target an Earth Machine monster in your graveyard, except for the Stampede and Special Summon Defense mode. But of course, like all of these other revival cards, its effect is negated. Now we can target one other face of monster you control. The level of that monster or this card become the level of each other. So you could technically mod your level 10 down to a 4. You can mod this into a 10 and actually set up and play the game. Now, of course, you don't have to declare attacks turn you activate this, except with Exceed monsters. Interesting that they had to slap that little extra clause on here, but I guess having trains being, this devastatingly punishing engine was just a little bit too much. Now, Barrage Blast. This is the card that was mentioned on the new monster that you can actually search for this. But once per turn, detach any number of materials from a Machine Exceed monster you control to target that many cards on the field and destroy them. Now, if a Machine Exceed monster you control be destroyed by battle or your opponent's card effect while this card is in your graveyard, you can banish this card and a Machine Exceed monster from your graveyard to inflict damage to your opponent equal to the banished monster's rank times 200. So this would basically be a card to not only clear up things, but its job is to make sure that you can pop things. Now, the new monster gives you the ability to pop spells and traps. If you were to search for this, this is a continuous card, so you will technically get some additional play usage off of this, which we talk more about multi-purposing tools and having cards like this that can actually help things out. So I do think this is a very strong card. And then we have the Night Express Knight. This is one of the classical monsters. Remember, this can't be special summoned from the deck. I love the fact that they had to slap that restriction on it for its very early card design. But you can normal summon this card without tributing, but its original attack becomes 0. When you're looking at a lot of the base level 10 machine support that you got, you need to have bodies that you can actually deploy onto the field to be, the base anchors for you to be able to start combo. And also, once again, this is a free normal summon, all right? You don't have to do anything else. And if you were to revive it and its effects negated, you've got a 3K body that you can actually do things with. That, I think, is where your value kind of comes in. It's these little extra bodies that you can actually kind of generate onto the field that I think are going to be some of the big helps for actually producing the results for what the new support actually kind of wants to have. And then, of course, we can't forget good old Train Derek Crane, the heavy freight. This is the thing that I would brick on all the time. But if an Earth Machine monster is no more special summoned to your field except during damage step, we can special summon this card from our hand. Its original attack and defense become halved. And of course, you can only use this effect of Heavy Freight Derek Crane once per turn. And if this card is detached for an Exceed material to activate this effect, you can target a card your opponent controls and destroy it. We always loved not only having this be the free extender. Trust me, I bricked on this many, many times. But it was really, really cool to be able to get the detach pop something, because you would also chain block this to make sure that, you would get the destruction effect, or you could also chain block the other effect that you've got going off to at least ensure that whichever one that you needed to resolve, you would be able to actively use. And I think Derek Crane is still one of the cooler cards you can have for trains. And then, of course, the Super Bullet Train. This thing cannot declare an attack unless you send 2 other cards you control to the graveyard. That's such a bad stipulation, but it is a 3K. Now, if all monsters you control are Earth Machine minimum 1, this was a free special summon from the hand, which actually, hey, you know, another 3K we can work with here. And then during the end phase, if this card is in the graveyard because it was sent there, you can target a machine monster in the graveyard except for the bullet train and add it back to your hand. There's a lot of like recurability that these themes or these older cards kind of had, because, you know, they're like, oh, train's gonna get through. That's why like they kind of had to patch up some of the problems with this stuff, but looks like they did all right with this. But what do you guys think about trains right now? Please leave a comment down below, tell me what you guys think, and I'll see your beautiful faces back here in a day, guys. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.